Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to take a look at Mysterio ahead of Spider-Man Far From Home. I want to take inventory of how good or bad he is right now and give you guys an idea of, if you are building up the character, what you can expect from him in the meantime, and then how much better we hope he will get with his Far From Home uniform, because it's pretty much a guarantee that he's going to be getting a uniform. He's the major villain in a, well, presumably he's going to be a major character. I shouldn't say necessarily a villain, but a major character in the next major MCU film, and pretty much every single MCU film for the past few years in Marvel Future Fight has gotten that kind of love and that kind of update. So yeah, you know, we're not going to get a brand new character for Quentin Beck. We're going to get a new kind of Jake Gyllenhaal inspired, Thor uniform inspired costume uniform upgrade for him, and it's really gonna depend on how much they decide to boost his uniform. That's going to depend. It's going to really influence whether he becomes a staple in the game or not. But right now, he's not. This is a stage 21 of Shadowland, and he's doing it, but you can see the damage is very low. You can see his damage is in the hundreds, despite the fact that he's fighting a stage that he's supposed to be at an advantage in, which is a villain stage. So even though he's doing that, you know, against MODOK here, he's doing damage in the hundreds at times, sometimes in the thousands, sometimes in the hundreds. But he can definitely complete this stage. This would probably take me about a minute and 30, a minute and 40. This is the best case scenario for you if you build Mysterio. I have a top 1000 Mysterio. So you can build your Mysterio to clear anywhere from like stage 1 to like stage 30 of Shadowland. That's probably where I would put his absolute maximum. That was stage 21 with my cards and my gameplay and my Mysterio. Now, this is the wrong team up here for him, but if we go and look at his stats, I'll talk about his build just a little bit, and then I'll take him into some different gameplay and talk about his weaknesses, because that was really his strength, being able to chain iframes and being able to summon clones and do lots of kind of semi-crowd control type abilities in Shadowland. It doesn't work in World Boss, but it works very well in Shadowland, and he's also a blast villain, and he's farmable, so those are all good qualities. Now my top 1000 Mysterio, I've got 4 and 5 star Uru here. I focused all on damage because that's what he needs. Well, he needs survivability as well, but I couldn't give him survivability because then he would have 0 damage. His damage is so low, and you can see that he's got less than 19,000 energy attack even after, you know, all of these amplified 4 and 5 star energy attack Uru. We've got all his skills maxed out. We've got stage 5 Power of Angry Hulk. Now, this is not technically the best set for him if you want to min-max for now, because his tier 2 passive Showmanship gives him a 10 speed or 10% all speed buff, so that will you know, stack with Power of Angry Hulk. So in my case, I'm over the speed cap by the attack speed cap by 4%. So if I wanted to really min-max, I would go for Overdrive, but I think you can settle for Power of Angry Hulk for now. I rolled his 4th gear option to ignore defense because he doesn't have a uniform, and I didn't want to put it on Uru. And then I gave him a crit damage, mind damage, 120 proc. Now, he could do that stage faster with a larger proc, with a higher proc. He may be able to push into the low 30s of stages, you know, like 30, 35 in Shadowland Plus if you gave him a CTP or something like that. But the problem with Mysterio is basically twofold. He does very low damage, and on top of that, he has no survivability. That is really the problem with Mysterio. He does have 4 iframes. 4 of his skills have iframes, and especially 4 and 5 have long iframes. But besides 2, every other skill, 1, 3, 4, and 5 have iframes. 3 summons clones, which distracts your enemies in Shadowland. It's good for Shadowland, it's bad for World Boss, because the World Boss will continue to attack your clones, and then they can interrupt your iframes with their iframes, especially Ebony. So I do not recommend using his 3rd skill against World Bosses, but he just combines that sort of sad fact that none of his skills have any sort of defensive properties. They're just plain text, vanilla text. There's no immunity, there's no invincibility, there's no guard hit, there's no heal, there's nothing. There's literally nothing. And then he has low damage on top of that. So those two in combination are really what make him a very frustrating character to play at the moment, but you can sort of overwhelm enemies in Shadowland by just spamming all of your skills. And his skills are beautiful. I do have to say that. That's one thing that Netmarble got right. He really does feel like Mysterio. You feel as though you're playing as this master of, you know, visual effects, this master of CGI, this master of holograms and all this sort of stuff. He really is that sort of like behind the scenes wizard, and it's really cool when he goes up into his fourth skill. He goes up into the chair and he's kind of just watching you, and all this stuff is happening on below you. They did that really, really well, but yeah, he just can't do anything in the game. We're going to jump into a stage 20 of Ebony Maw, which is super, super low. I'm going to bring along Ancient One for the 45% energy attack on top of 25% elemental damage, so he's getting a huge bump there. And then Shuri's going to provide some more survivability and, of course, some more damage. And we're also going to need to bring along Anti-Venom as a healer. But this is going to be rough. I can tell you this right now. I don't think he can clear this unless I play perfectly. If I put full strikers, he could. But the good thing about Mysterio is, I mean, I hope they change his skills, but even if they don't change the animations of his skills, they really don't have to do too much to make him better. They just have to... oh, I did his third skill. I made a mistake. I was supposed to do just 4. They just have to bump up his skill damage and give him some skill effects. We're gonna hide with the 4th skill right now. He's gonna see. I mean, this is really great, and this is really what makes you feel as though you're playing as Mysterio. I got my 5th skill interrupted there, and then I, you know, I don't know what's going on. I got my 5th skill interrupted, and then I got frozen there. But if you just use 1, 4, and 5, you can sort of hide from Ebony Maw effectively and try to proc on 5. I would say procking on 5 is your best bet to do the most amount of damage, which is not bad, but it's a stage 20, which is really low, and I've got a really high raid level, and I've got a lot of help for him. We don't have a full list of strikers, but the nice thing is his first skill moves him behind Ebony, which sets you up unless you dodge those kind of cone-based attacks, like that one there. But all they need to do, it's quite simple. A very simple rework for Mysterio would just be to... Oh my gosh, come on. Cut me some slack. Okay, and I got completely washed. He interrupted me during my 5th skill. I don't know how he knocked me out of my iframe and he killed me. We're going to drop down to a stage 15. Let's see if we can do this here. But it's really simple. All they have to do for Mysterio is like quadruple his damage. If he doesn't get a tier 3, at least he'll get level 70, gear 25, but they need to like quadruple his base damage on his skills, and then they need to give him a skill that has invincibility or a skill that has immunity, or both. That's really all they need to do to make Mysterio more than playable, because he's already fun to play, and I imagine that his new skills will also be fun to play. They're kind of going to capture that essence of him, but... you know, that's really all they need to do, but that's a lot, obviously, because a lot of characters don't get that much. And even with Matt, I don't know why his 5th skill keeps getting interrupted. It's so stupid. But he has this really long wind-up on a lot of his skills, and it causes him to get interrupted, and it... How did that not proc my obelisk? Okay. It causes some pretty strange interactions to happen, because you just get interrupted in weird ways. I don't know. Oh, it's at the bottom of 13 that he goes. Jeez, we're still not there yet. Okay, alright. I don't know what happened there. I did my 5th skill and I got my iframe, but I didn't do any damage. That was really weird. Even Mysterio's weirding me out right now. I mean, he's got such cool skill animations, but then he's just so terrible. And that was really the disappointing thing when he came out. A character that looks so cool and then plays so poorly. We're going to summon the clones here. We just need to push him into the next phase. This is really annoying why he's not going. Basically, the majority of his skills damage is stacked onto 5. But really, you know, if he had like 5 seconds of immunity on his 5th skill, and if he had like an 8 guard hit for 8 seconds on his 3rd skill, I really think that would be enough on top of quadrupling his damage to make Mysterio definitely playable. I don't know about meta, but definitely playable. There we go. 5th skill got interrupted again. Nice. And we're in trouble now, getting hit by meteors. Nice. Awesome. If they could give him a bit more, you know, guaranteed dodge, perhaps that would help as well to bump up the survivability. I don't know what they would want to do for him. He could also have a decoy. I think that would be really cool, like Dr. Doom, where when he dies, he comes back to life. That might be a little bit too powerful to give a character that is farmable, but I think that would really illustrate the sort of, the sort of guy that Quentin Beck is, that he's going to, fake his own death because he, doesn't really want to get his hands dirty. And he just wants to fool you visually with what's really going on. But I'm sure you guys have other suggestions. I'm curious to see how they sort of interpret his abilities from Far From Home, because right now all we see is a guy kind of surfing around and shooting green smoke out of his hands. I don't really know how that translates into Marvel Future Fight as far as kind of skill animations go, because it seems kind of boring to just have like smoke and stuff. But if he could fly like Iron Man flies, I think that would be really, really cool. They just need to, they really need to put some love in. He needs like a Winter Soldier-esque rework to make him functional. And will be interesting to see. There's two more things that is going to be really interesting to see. The first one is whether they make him a villain or a hero. Now, some people have kind of lamented the idea that Netmarble would make him a hero because they did the same thing to Nebula in Endgame. I really hope they don't, because I think it's really stupid. Mysterio is one of the classic rogues gallery villains for Spider-Man. He's one of the top 10 most recognizable, easily among the most recognizable Spider-Man villains. And to make him a hero just because he's a hero in the trailer of the movie, or he appears to be a good guy, it would just be stupid. I think that Netmarble really needs to embrace villains in this game. We're not going to finish this. They need to embrace villains in this game, and they need to make them good. And we want to play as villains, okay? We don't want to play every fucking character as a hero. It kind of gets exhausting, and it gets honestly kind of boring to have every single character become a hero. So I really want to hammer that point home and repeat it. Don't make Mysterio a hero. That would be a colossal fuck up. Secondly, it'll be interesting to see if they keep all of his skills mind damage. He's got 4 skills right now that are mind damage. It'll be curious to see what happens there. Of course, you should kind of keep your obelisks on him and await the patch notes and the update to see what's going on. But until then, we can kind of only speculate. I was thinking of throwing a CTP of energy on him and testing him out again, but I think I'd have a lot of trouble surviving against Ebony, so I kind of backed away from it before I made the video. But let me know what you guys think. Would you like to see a follow-up video where I try to tweak his build a little bit? Honestly, I don't want to do too much because it's just so up in the air as to how Netmarble is going to handle this, that I don't know what, how worthwhile it would be to experiment with these things on a character that's just so bad right now and basically only works for Shadowland and might get a complete and hopefully total facelift when Far From Home lands. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you'd like to see next. If you want me to dive into some of the other Spider-Man characters that might get a rework or a uniform for this, like Sandman, or if you'd like to see something else. Hit me up in the comments down below. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you later today. Take care.